Okay, so hopefully people can hear me fine. It looks like my audio is fine. I don't know who may or may not see this and jump into the chat. Let me just remove my headphones unless I end up needing them to check the audio again. So let me turn off the light behind me. Doop-a-doop-a-doo, doop-a-doo, doop-a-doo, doo-doo. Bing. Looks a bit plain now, but that's fine. Normally I'm not using this setup, so normally I'm sitting with my head around here, and obviously a different camera. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on here to talk about an issue that there seems to be here on YouTube. Today I had a message from a viewer to say that an ad cropped up in the video. I'm going to have to turn down my volume because now I'm talking. I can see that it's clipping. That one there. Bling, 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 bling. I was worried that it wasn't going to be loud enough, so I turned it up a bit while I was monitoring it. Hopefully that won't clip, but if it does, people can let me know. So, today I had a message from somebody on one of my videos saying that they had an ad at the six hour mark on the video, and saying that this has happened to them a few times now. The other day they had commented on a video to say they had an ad at the 6 hour mark, and so I knew it had happened previously to them because they had said it previously. And at that point they said that they had also seen a comment previously that said about having an ad at the 6 hour mark, and they'd also replied at some point, I can't remember when, but at some point a number of days ago, to say that there was an ad, or to respond saying, yes, I also have had an ad at the 6 hour mark on a video. So I've known for a little while now that YouTube has been putting up a message at the 6 hour mark saying, are you still watching this video? So initially, so since 2019, 2020, whenever it was that I first uploaded an 8 hour video, I think it was 2019, October or November 2019, I first uploaded 8 hour videos. Back then they were just the compilations, and I'd noticed that in the watch time there was a big drop off at 6 hours. So I had assumed, and the drop off is about 6:02 or something like that. So I'd assumed that what was happening was that people were, because it's obviously an average on the watch time, that people were on average putting the video on, even though it's like an 8 hour video, putting the video on, and then at the 6 hour mark, roughly, that would be when people would wake up, because it's an 8 hour video. But I know people who obviously use my videos, struggle with sleep, probably don't get a full 8 hour night's sleep. And so I thought, if you're going to bed at 2, waking up at, say, 8 in the morning or something, perhaps you're only getting 6 hours sleep, or, midnight and waking up at whatever time. So I had assumed that's all it was initially, that sudden drop off, a very significant drop off, was because viewers genuinely, once everyone's averaged out, end up dropping off around 6 to 6:02 after starting to watch the videos. Then somebody, I think perhaps a year ago, commented saying that they were woken up because the video went silent, and so they thought it had ended, and they saw on the screen, um, "Are you still watching?" or whatever, however the question was phrased, but a kind of question of, "Are you still watching this video?" And so I thought, oh, that explains the 6 hour thing, that YouTube obviously picks 6 hours as if the video's still running and you haven't interacted with it, you're probably not watching it, so it asks you. And so I assumed that if you don't press yes, then essentially the video's paused at that point all the way through till morning. Um, Probably a year ago or so, I also started getting a slight increase in comments from people saying that they'd had ads during the videos. You know, that, oh, at some point during this video, an ad played, or they would say things like, "Oh, in the middle of the video, an ad played." And so I just sort of, I would post my stock kind of apology. Can't help it. It's a YouTube thing. I've been fighting YouTube about this for years. There's nothing I can do about it. I recommend setting a sleep timer so that your device turns off or YouTube turns off, sort of an hour after bedtime or whatever, so that you don't get to have an ad play. Um, so that's all I thought it was. No one kind of said any different. People weren't really saying the exact time generally that an ad played. And then because of this person saying 3 times about the ad playing at 6 hours in, I typed in ad and went through all of my comments where the word ad was used across all my videos, and saw that there was things like, there was one video that said, or one comment that said, an ad played an hour and a half before the end, or an ad played, I thought the video had ended, and so I went to press play on a new video, and then I saw that there was still 1.5 hours left of the video to play. And so I looked at the length of that video, and it was an 8.5 hour long video. So obviously that was a 6 hour ad. I then saw in response to one of my community posts about ads a few months ago and how annoying the ads are, that YouTube seems to be increasing, uh, putting ads back in again. Someone saying, yeah, I was watching a 12-hour sleep video and an ad played halfway through it. And so I thought, well, they may be talking kind of generically, and they may mean halfway through just as a general term, but halfway through a 12-hour video is 6 hours. Um, then I saw one say, I went to bed at, I think it was like, I went to bed at 10:30, and an ad woke me up towards 3 o'clock in the morning. So again, I thought, well, that's about 6 hours. So it does really seem to be that YouTube now doesn't just have, um, at the 6 hour mark, a message coming up on users' screens saying, "Are you still watching?" It now seems to perhaps have that message, but I'm assuming, and this is what I said in response to this person today. I said that I'm now wondering whether, when YouTube shows the message saying, "Are you still watching?" that stays on screen for a period of time, and then if you don't um, kind of react to that message that's come up on screen, then YouTube will just close the video down, and probably at the point of ending the video and going back to the home screen or whatever it does, um, will end up showing an ad uh, to you. You know, will play almost like an end roll ad, um, because YouTube is ending the video, and so that's what I'm assuming is happening. I don't know for sure because I've not watched one of my videos, left it running through to 6 hours to see what happens at the 6 hour point, whether it just shows the message or whether it shows the message and then after a short period of time then defaults to closing the video because you've not interacted with the message. And so it's assuming you must be not watching because you're not interacting with the message. And on closing the video, is it then playing an end roll ad? Because obviously YouTube has made end roll ads compulsory on all videos on YouTube. All videos on YouTube. So that's what my assumption is, so if anyone has actually seen this ad pop up, like actually been awake physically at the time that you get to the 6 hour mark, and then seen that ad come up when it occurs, then I'd be curious to hear how you've got, whether that is what happens, whether YouTube is coming up with a message, and then if you don't interact with the message, it's closing the video down and playing an ad because it's treating it as this video's now ended, and so it's playing an end ad at that point. The question is, obviously, from my perspective, what do I do about it? Because I was making stories that were just the length, videos that were just the length of the story, but then because of ads and people wanting to sometimes listen to playlists and listen to more than one story at a time, back to back, because of ads, I then was uploading the individual stories, but then creating compilations so that the compilation would be all night long, and that way you don't have to listen to a playlist because I've essentially created a playlist for you. It's not your playlist, so it's not as good as a playlist because it's not your chosen bunch of stories that you're listening to. It's just a generic playlist. But yeah, so I was doing individual stories, then uploading an all-night compilation so that those who needed to listen to more than one story could play an all-night compilation, and then set a sleep timer to have it end whatever length you want it, between 0 and all night. But at worst, you'll wake up before, with no ads playing before it goes on to ads. I always obviously would tell people not to have autoplay on so you wouldn't get ads. But then, what is it, a year and a half, 2 years ago, YouTube introduced the end roll ads as a compulsory thing. So all of a sudden you've got ads at the end of sort of the post-roll ads. You've got the ads at the end of videos. So I started making videos that were all night long because YouTube had made it compulsory that there was an ad at the end of the video. And so if I uploaded a single story, or even a story with a few hours of music or sound effects or whatever, the reality was that at some point you're going to then get woken up. So the idea was, when I was uploading perhaps a 3 hour video or a 4 hour video that would have one story on it and then some space with just some sound effects or music or something, the idea was that you can then set a sleep timer, you can listen to the story and let a little bit of music or something play, and then fall asleep in your own time, knowing that no ads would play. But again, there are still some people that just want to let a video play through till the end. And so, so I started doing the 8 hour videos to get around YouTube's ad thing where they're putting ads at the end of my videos. And that meant that all of a sudden I was doing 8 hour long videos, making sure that way everyone can listen as long as they want during the night, whether it's an hour or whether it's 8 hours, but you won't get woken up by an ad when the video ends, because the video will end when you, in theory, should be waking up anyway, 8 hours later. But now, given that YouTube is placing ads at the 6 hour mark, there's no point me making 8 hour videos. So this is the dilemma I've got, and I'm curious what people's views are about what I perhaps could do about this. Obviously, none of this affects people who, so the video pausing at 6 hours obviously affects people who want to watch a video all night, and YouTube is then just stopping it at the 6 hour point to ask if you're still watching. But that same thing applies if you're watching a playlist. So if you're watching a playlist for more than 6 hours, YouTube is stopping it at the 6 hour mark to say you've been watching 6 hours of videos now, and are you still watching? Are you going to interact to say yes? So even if you're a Patreon subscriber, obviously you still have the video end at 6 hours. It's just that you don't get an ad waking you up. Whereas the Patreon, if you're a premium subscriber, if you're just a normal regular YouTube user, you get an ad as well. And so it's trying to know what to do with that. Because if I make any videos longer than 6 hours, you're going to get an ad at 6 hours. If I make a video that's shorter than 6 hours, YouTube has its post-roll ads. It puts ads at the end of all videos. So any video shorter than 6 hours is going to get ads at the end. Any videos that are longer than 6 hours, you're going to get an ad at the 6 hour mark. So it's difficult to know what to do, because if I keep making 8 hour videos, which take longer for me to make, people are just going to get woken by an ad during my video. And then obviously the default perspective from people is I've had most of the comments I get are commonly some friendly ones, people just saying, oh, that there was an ad at 6 hours. But commonly I'll end up getting comments from people hating on me because I've chosen as a creator to put ads in my videos, which obviously I haven't done. And so if they're abusive, I normally just delete the comment because I know it's an issue and I don't need someone being abusive telling me how they're not going to subscribe to my channel now or watch my channel ever again because I've put the ads in them. I just remove the comment. But if it's someone obviously saying, oh, that woke me up, I love your work, but this is the first time I was listening to it, I was really enjoying it, and then this thing happened and it's not abusive, then obviously I just leave it there and I just reply with my kind of, sorry, it's YouTube, it's not me, there's nothing I can do. So it's trying to work out what to do. I probably won't stick with making 8 hour long videos because there's no point if there's going to be an ad at 6 hours, but there's also no point making videos shorter than 8 hours because there's going to be an ad at the end of the video. So I'm thinking of just going back to posting the individual stories as I was all along for quite some time, years, just posting the individual stories. Users can then create their own playlists. Everyone who is a premium YouTube premium user will obviously be able to create playlists and listen through the playlist without any ads between the stories. Anyone who is not a premium YouTube user can listen to individual stories, will get an ad at the end of the story. So I would probably have round up every video, try and make every story under an hour, and round up every video to 1 hour, and aim for stories to be between, say, 50 and 60 minutes. Round up every story to 1 hour with just some music or something faintly in the background, so that that way people can set a sleep timer for 1 hour, or round up to just over an hour, like 1 hour, 1 minute, so that people can then set a sleep timer for 1 hour. And that way, hopefully YouTube, so the sleep timers on YouTube, if you use the turn off YouTube when the video ends option, so I've tried the sleep timers. Currently, if you use the turn off YouTube when the video ends sleep timer, YouTube ends the video, plays an ad, and then stops, turns itself off. If you use the turn the video off at 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 60 minutes, whatever, I can't remember the exact options, YouTube gets to that point and then just turns itself off. It doesn't play an ad. My suspicion is YouTube will start playing an ad even if you use the sleep timer. I suspect YouTube's going to go that way, and that really YouTube will only be good for premium users in terms of sleep content. That's my suspicion. Yeah, the idea of having to restrict myself to shorter than 1 hour stories is 100% because there isn't a sleep timer option on YouTube greater than 60 minutes. So if the story's longer than 60 minutes, then people will end up having to set a sleep timer before the story ends, which would be really irritating. Although so far since April, I've made some what I feel are really subpar Patreon stories that I've not been happy with, but I've just had to get them out there. But so far since April, I don't think I've been able to make a single story. I've got probably dozens and dozens of 5-minute, 10-minute clips of starts of stories, but haven't yet made it through a single story, new sleep story. So I'm running out of pre-recorded sleep stories. And so I have to figure that out, how to make a sleep story. But that's a Dan thing. So in relation uh, to this issue, the sort of 6-hour ad issue, yeah, YouTube's making it so that it's very difficult to use it for relaxation content, for sleep content that you want playing through the night or anything, because every video has ads at the end of it by default. By YouTube expects that, and every single video now, if it's over 6 hours, has an ad at the 6-hour point. So that means that any video longer than 6 hours gets an ad, and any video shorter than 6 hours, you're going to get woken up by the video ending and an ad playing, unless you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, or unless you just listen to the sleep content elsewhere, like on Insight Timer or over on Patreon. Obviously, Patreon's good because you can then sync it up with whatever podcast app you use to listen to audio, and just listen to it there. Whereas Insight Timer, I think, is very good, but you've got to kind of just be using their app. So it's trying to think what works for the audience, because obviously what works for me isn't necessarily relevant. It's easier to make videos where it's just a single story, not 8 hours of stories. That takes significantly less editing to make a single story video than an 8-hour video, because for an 8-hour video, I have to obviously shift all the stories around, change the end of every single video because every video is slightly different lengths, because of moving stories around, frequently deleting the last story and then shifting everything about. And it obviously then takes much longer to process an 8-hour video as a video, as a high definition video. Even though it's black screen, the processing time is still quite long. So it takes a while to process the video, whereas a single story might be 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 1 hour, 20, whatever, depending on how long the story took to say. So a single story is obviously much, much quicker to edit the video of. So really, it's not so much about what works for me, it's more trying to think of what the solution is in this world of YouTube. Obviously, any other sleep story creators, ASMR creators, meditation creators, relaxation creators, natural sound creators, whatever it happens to be, anyone else out there who does the same kind of thing, as in videos that you intentionally don't want ads once the video starts. You don't want ads from that point on. I'm curious to know your experiences and what your thoughts are, and what you perhaps are doing about this issue. Whether, because what I've noticed is, obviously I'm one of the very, very few creators who does sleep story videos that are all night long, that are longer than 6 hours. So most other sleep story creators don't have the 6 hour problem because their videos aren't 6 hours long. But all sleep story creators should have the problem that they get ads at the end of their videos. And every other sleep story creator, whether it's Get Sleepy, Stephen Dalton, um, Sam, I can't remember the name of all the different channels now. Um, all these other channels, all of them obviously would have ads at the end of their videos. And so one question is, what if they're watching? What have they found? What have you found? Your experience be how have you overcome this issue of having ads at the end of your videos that you can't control, that play, and having a chunk of audience who obviously aren't premium subscribers who want to listen to the content but end up having to then face an ad at the end of the video. So I am curious what other creators have done. But I think for me, it looks like it's going to be going back to just making individual stories, sharing the stories as individual stories, and people can then create playlists if they want. If they so 75% of my audience have YouTube Premium. So 75% of my views now come from YouTube Premium subscribers. So there's only 25% of people who watch my content who actually have sort of have this issue with ads. Um, Myself and other creators have spoken often about uh, ad issues, but so far, so the ads in the middle of videos, so far the issue, we've never been able to resolve it. It's always been a case of, oh well, it rarely happens to the same individual um, over and over again. So it rarely happens. So if I don't know, if Renee was to watch one of my videos and had an ad in the video, the chances are, because it would be YouTube testing, normally because it's YouTube testing, that same individual, because there's millions and millions of people watching videos on YouTube, that same individual won't have the test run on them a second time, or at least not a second time any time close to that first time. So you may have like once a year, you get an ad in the middle of the video. So that part, creators have kind of accepted. All you can do is apologize to people when it happens to them and say it shouldn't happen to you again. I'm in a bit of a different situation because it's happening to every individual who's uh, a lot of people sleep through it, so not everyone knows this is happening to them. But every single individual who watches my videos longer than 6 hours is getting the 6 hour ad, whether they like it or not. So there'll be people that sleep through that 6 hour ad because I'm talking on the video and then an ad kicks in, and maybe the ad is a static ad saying, give your opinion on this thing, like, have you seen what's something I've got? Which of these insurance companies would you consider using? Or something that might be the ad, and then you have to click an option or say skip ad. Or it could be an ad that's just someone talking on the ad that's not talking particularly loud. It's not a film trailer or something. And so they just don't wake up because it's my voice, and then it goes into the ad, which is perhaps the same level as my voice or quiet, and then it turns off, and so you don't notice that an ad was there. Um, yeah, it's quite rare to be a static ad though. Yeah, stopping short of 6 hours doesn't help because you still get the ad at the end of the video. So every single video on YouTube, back in, I think it was November 2023, YouTube introduced that they made it compulsory that there will be ads at the end of every single video on YouTube, and they made that compulsory. So I, as a creator, don't have an option to turn that ad off anymore. So every video that was uploaded before the date they made it compulsory doesn't have ads at the end of it, as long as you never edit that video. So if you go to edit an old video, then so the monetization on the old video, not if you just edit the description or something, but if you go to edit the monetization on an old video, when you go to edit it, as soon as you go to save it again, the new save it sets it with the new system. So it then saves it with the ad at the end of the video. So I just don't touch any of my old videos. Not that I would anyway, because they're all set with just an ad beforehand, no ads in the middle and no ads at the end. But yeah, so every video uploaded before November 2023 won't have ads in the middle or at the end. But it will have an ad at 6 hours, because YouTube has implemented that regardless of the video, that at 6 hours it plays an ad, whether you like it or not. So that will happen, I think, regardless of which video it is. But because I've had comments on old videos that have said it. But in terms of the end roll ad, if I just made videos that were 5 hours long, at 5 hours, when the video ends, an ad will play. And so there's a risk that the person will then get jolted awake by the ad that plays at 5 hours. So a creator making shorter videos, like most videos by creators are, say, 3 to 5 hours long. If it's 3 to 5 hours long, then at 3 to 5 hours, you're going to have an ad whenever it ends. YouTube doesn't know that people are watching the video to sleep. So does YouTube really think people are getting up and buying stuff when they're trying to sleep? YouTube doesn't know that that's what the video is. And as YouTube said to us when Jason Stevenson, so we all were trying to challenge the ads at the end of videos thing. Myself, Jason Stevenson, Get Sleepy, I'm trying to think of the names. I just can't think. It's late. I can't think of any of the names of all the creators. But loads and loads and loads of us spoke to our audience and said, look, so we'd all tried to approach YouTube individually. YouTube ignored us. And then Jason Stevenson, being the largest creator out of all of us, put together a petition, and we asked all our audiences to go and sign this petition to say to YouTube, we do not want ads at the end of our sleep stories and relaxation videos, etc., and ASMR videos and whatever other videos. So all of that was then submitted to YouTube, and YouTube responded to the petition. But YouTube's attitude was very much, well, YouTube actually said, if you put this hashtag in your video, we can't guarantee that it will stop the ads, but it might make the ads less likely to appear. So we all put a hashtag in our, the hashtag YouTube told us to, in our videos, specifically to try and make sure YouTube doesn't show ads. But all of our experience has been that YouTube still shows the ads in most cases. So, yeah, so YouTube's opinion was, in the grand scheme of things, the number of channels that are relaxation content, ASMR content, sleep content is an incredibly tiny fraction of a percent of all the videos on YouTube. And so it's so insignificantly small that if viewers stopped watching all of the content, relaxation content, ASMR content, sleep content, etc., if all viewers stopped watching, if all those videos vanished from YouTube because they're no longer able to work on YouTube as a platform, those videos make up such a tiny fraction of a single percent that it barely is a blip in the ocean to YouTube's views for YouTube as a company. And so YouTube's opinion was, because it's such a small percentage of all the videos on YouTube that your videos make up, that's insignificant for us to deal with as an issue. I responded saying it may be an insignificant number of videos for you, but every single video for me as a creator is affected negatively. So for me, it's my livelihood that's affected. Even if for you as YouTube, it's like, oh, that's such a tiny fraction of 1% that it's a blip in the ocean. So why do we care if all your videos can't work anymore on our platform? That makes no difference to us in the grand scheme of things. We're implementing this change. So I think it's the same with the 6 hour one, that YouTube having an ad at 6 hours, they don't care or think about the fact that no one at 6 hours, when they've been asleep for 6 hours, is going to wake up to an ad and think, yeah, I'd love to buy whatever has just woken me up. They're just going to think there should be an ad in this video because it's a long video, and most people watching long videos are awake watching the video. So their thing is, you should be awake watching this, which means that you should be seeing an ad. So you just asked about, does anyone else have YouTube Premium? 75% of my viewers have YouTube Premium, and I suspect that with all the other sleep story channels, ASMR channels, etc., they probably have, say, 75% of their viewers being YouTube Premium subscribers, because this kind of content is becoming relatively unviable for the average non-YouTube Premium subscriber because of the ads that they now get that are compulsory, that us creators don't have any say in. So I can't stop ads showing during or after the video. I have the ad setting off for ads during the video, but as has recently come to light, YouTube is showing ads at 6 hours into videos, probably to everyone who watches my videos who isn't a YouTube Premium subscriber. Yeah, it is like someone getting a boat and just thinking, oh, well, it's only this amount of money. But yeah, so I just wanted to come on here, obviously, just to briefly talk about that. And I wanted to get it done today, and I wanted to do it at a time when I thought most of my audience would be awake and out of work, hopefully, so early evening or whatever, because most of my audience is US based. So that as much of my audience as possible could be jumping into the stream to share their thoughts and views about this issue, and about their experience of it. Like how many people haven't left a comment but have found that there's an ad at 6 minutes in, 6 hours in even, that jolts them awake. Yeah, I personally, I'm not a YouTube Premium subscriber. My wife is a YouTube Premium subscriber. Um, I'm not, because I think it's overpriced for what you get. So the only reason I would be a YouTube Premium subscriber would be to get ad-free viewing of videos. But for the same price, I can get Amazon Prime, where I can get to watch films, I can get to have free shipping on items I order. Um, I get some free um, ebooks and what have you. And so I just think, if it was 4.99, so that's in pounds because I'm in the UK, if it was £4.99 a month, I would get YouTube Premium, even though I think that YouTube is underhanded in how they've gone about encouraging people to get YouTube Premium. I do understand that YouTube is a business and it has to make sure that it's making money, and the creators on the platform are trying to uh, make a living, and creators on the platform deserve to be paid for the work that they're doing, because if you're doing it just um, as a as an aside, and you're not really um, doing it to make money, maybe you're just doing it because you want to share some content or whatever, that's fine. But if you're doing it and it is taking up the time that you otherwise would be working doing something else, and you need to be making a living, and so that's why you're doing it. It's like an artist. If someone's an artist, or if someone's a photographer or whatever, if they're doing it to make a living, then someone coming along saying, can you take some photos for free for me, or can you paint a picture for free for me, you sort of think, well, no, because I have to do this for my living. If I do it for free for everyone, I don't make a living. So on here, obviously, the idea is us creators get paid by a percentage of YouTube Premium, or by a percentage of ad revenue. So I fully get YouTube needs to have ads, but I do kind of disagree with the idea that YouTube takes the choice from creators away from us, in terms of we can't um, we can't choose about the ads in terms of them being at the beginning of our videos, end of our videos, the middle of our videos. At the moment, you either have ads at the beginning and the end on. They don't actually have an easy setting to turn it off when you're doing a video upload. But you have ads at the beginning and the end. You can't have the beginning and not the end, which you used to be able to. So they've limited the ability for creators to control where the ads are. I suspect in the next year or two, it will just be ads are on, and the mid-roll ads will be, you can just choose um, to have, you can either choose the placement of the ads, or you can let YouTube choose the placement. I think that's what it will come down to. But I think it will one day just be, the ads are on, and that's by default. Um, so I fully get that ads are needed. I fully get that not everyone can afford to pay for premium, and so it's nice to have an ad-based part of it. But I just think that YouTube is so ridiculously overpriced. YouTube Premium is so ridiculously overpriced. If you're someone that needs YouTube Music and needs all the other features of YouTube Premium, then maybe it would be a more sort of a better value proposition. But to me, I just think it's not a very good value proposition. I don't listen to music really, unless it's on my Walkman. I don't really buy any new music, so everything I listen to is really old. Um, Obviously, a lot of my stuff is on Amazon, uh, on Amazon Music, and can be purchased or streamed from Amazon Music, um, but not everything. A lot of my stuff is on Spotify, but you can also get it on Spotify via um, Patreon. Um, a lot of my stuff is on pretty much every single audio streaming service, as well as many apps. But yeah, I think if someone's a heavy enough sleeper, then the ads aren't even an issue. It's, um, you're just going to sleep through the ad when it happens, and as long as it happens long enough after you fell asleep, then you're probably going to be fine. And ads have suddenly got much, much, much longer, and a lot more unskippable ads, not even compared to as long ago as a decade. just even a couple of years. I So you're saying you were paying for Netflix, Prime, Paramount, etc. I pay for Prime, but only because I benefit from all of the free shipping. That was why I subscribed to Prime when it was just free shipping that you got, um, when they didn't have Prime Video or anything. Um, so yeah, but with Amazon Prime, that's probably the streaming service I watch the most, because it offers a good choice of films. I subscribed to Disney for The Simpsons, but Disney have just doubled the yearly cost of Disney. Um, and last year they significantly increased the cost of Disney. So um, I'm now not going to resubscribe to Disney uh, next year. So I'm going to just watch to the end of all the Simpsons that I haven't watched yet, and then I will stop being subscribed to Disney. Um, but yeah, I don't subscribe to anything else. I now just subscribe briefly to services. If there's a series on that I want to watch, I'll wait until the series is fully on there, if it's kind of drip fed over weeks, and then I'll subscribe briefly. I think so. What I think irritates me as a general viewer of YouTube is when I'm sitting down eating dinner, and because of all the ads, I have to keep going over and pressing to skip ads. If it was just like even a 1 minute unskippable ad and then it went straight back to the program I'm watching, then it would be like watching terrestrial TV, old school TV. And as long as it only happens maybe every 10 or 15 minutes, I don't mind too much. But it's when you have to keep interacting with the ad just to get rid of it so that you can carry on watching the thing you're trying to watch. Um, I find that gets really irritating. But I do think that the decision YouTube has made to put so many ads on everything and make it so uncomfortable with all the ads is to push people to go for YouTube Premium. YouTube is the platform I watch the most. I probably watch maybe 6 to 8 hours of YouTube a day, I would say. Yeah, so with streaming services, I only ever normally pay per year because it's just so much easier to pay per year than it is to pay monthly, and it's normally marginally cheaper to pay per year. Normally, it's the equivalent of 10 months instead of 12. Um, and I'm quite strongly considering going back to not um, using YouTube as a normal member of the public, going back to stopping using YouTube and just reading books and playing computer games and things. Because I spend a lot of time feeling so kind of drained, obviously, from working and um, actively engaging with screens, that I don't end up playing computer games, even though I love playing computer games, because to play a computer game, I've got to actively engage with a screen. Um, so yeah, so I normally just end up um, putting YouTube on and just watching videos from kind of, I don't know, 6 o'clock until 2 or 3 in the morning, if I'm free and not staring at a screen working. Um, as a creator, it is getting quite tough to know what to do. So one thing that I've spoken a lot with some other sleep story creators, some of the old school sleep story creators, is about the issue of, so there are so many channels. It's kind of baffling. There's so many AI channels where the bulk of uh, the video, the sleep stories videos are AI, often an AI voice, AI writing, AI video, AI music, and then sound effects added. And those channels are taking off and steamrolling past, uh, you know, my channel and other channels. I've seen a number of AI-based sleep story channels who are able to churn out content every day or every other day, um, go in months from 0 to beyond 100,000 subscribers. And people say they're not a fan of AI content, but nobody notices that this is AI content. I scroll through the comments on all these videos, and all the comments are people saying, "Oh my God, your voice is so nice and relaxing. Oh my God, the way you're able to create these stories, it's so brilliant. Your creativity." And people comment on it, praising it incredibly, about how good the content is made, and don't realize it's AI. And yet those same people, many of them, I'm sure, would say that they don't like AI. And if they knew it was AI, they probably wouldn't listen to it. And I know that there was recent research that found that human beings generally prefer AI content and think it's more human nowadays than human content, which is strange. But human content has errors in it, and people then end up interpreting strange vocal quirks or repetitive use of words that a human might do, um, as being AI. And then the thing that's all polished, they think must be human, because listen to how wonderful this story is and how great this is done. Um, so yeah, so now people are preferring AI, and this is a conversation I had with another sleep story creator fairly recently, how difficult we're both finding it, where we can't churn out a story every other day without burning out. And yet these channels are churning out stories every other day, are going from 0 to over 100,000 subscribers within a matter of a couple of months. And um, people are really, really liking those channels. And I suspect they're the same people that would dislike those channels if they knew that there was there's nothing real behind it. There's just a person. So whenever I get comments, and you will all have seen these comments if you read my comments on my videos, because I don't manage to stop to remove them straight away. Whenever I get comments saying something like, "I love what you did with this story," or "This is great work," or "This really helped me to fall asleep," but then you see the username is something like, I don't know, religious bedtime stories, um, history bedtime stories, um, ghost sleep stories. All of these are channels saying some kind of sleep story thing, and then I'll click on it and I'll see that the channel was created less than a week ago and is already filled with sleep stories, and then they're just spamming on my channel and other creators' channels. with nice comments, which is nice. Um, they're spamming on the channel with nice comments. People then obviously engage with the comment, liking the comment themselves, making the comment rise higher up uh, in the comment section because it was a pleasant comment about the creator and the video they've made. Um, but it then is promoting their own AI channel, and a number of those people then obviously think, oh, that person was really kind, and look, they do sleep stories as well, I'll subscribe to them. And so they then siphon off some viewers. So I normally just remove those comments because I know that they're literally just spam. They're pleasant. I get much worse comments from actual human beings, but they're entirely done to siphon off viewers to AI sleep story channels. Um, what's the XP at the top of the screen? I don't see it on my screen, but I know that YouTube has been implementing a thing where, to try and increase people commenting, they've tried to turn commenting into a game, where essentially the more engaged a person is in the chat, the higher ranking you get um, as someone in the chat. I think it's completely stupid, but some people fall for these things and like competition, and YouTube thinks it helps with engagement. Um, but yeah, so uh, AI is the thing that myself and other creators actually have spent a lot of our time talking about, trying to work out uh, what's going on with them. Would I like moderators to delete them if you come across them? Um, that's up to you. It would be helpful, but at the same time, I don't want anyone to have to go to any extra effort. It just requires, clicking on it. You then see that the channel is essentially a brand new channel, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, and you see that it's loaded with lots of sleep stories or whatever, and it instantly looks suspicious. Um, yeah, they're turning chat into a competition so that people want to chat more and then get more points so that people can then win a competition. Not that there is any competition, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and then as wait until 2024 says, they then are trying to make it so that people feel I've got to get ahead, I've got to get ahead. So someone sends a super chat spending their money uh, to jump themselves up the rankings to get to the top. So it's like, I've just given that creator this money, and that means that I'm now higher up on this random, doesn't mean anything at all ranking. So it is a completely useless points thing that's designed to manipulate people into giving super chats because you want to get ahead in a competition, essentially with your fellow commenters, rather than giving a super chat because you happen to want to give the creator a super chat, for a kind actual reason, not for a manipulative YouTube reason. Um, and so, yeah, the whole thing is just competition to try and manipulate people into wanting to keep repeatedly commenting and wanting to keep giving money to the creator so that you can get ahead of other people who are commenting. And yeah, hello Ellen as well. Just I think I forgot to say hello, and hello everyone else who I think I forgot to say, because I wanted to make sure I got out the points I wanted to say here, so that I'm just seeing it's been an hour, so I will go to bed in a minute. I just wanted to jump on here and talk about this annoying ads at 6 hour point in videos thing, and make sure that all that was talked about thoroughly. Yeah, no gifts being given by me. It's a YouTube manipulation, psychological manipulation thing, that if you give people little rewards like crowns and XP points, people will then think, oh, I'm not quite ahead. I'm going to give the creator some money so that YouTube gets half that money or whatever. I'm going to give the people don't think that part of it, but YouTube gets a big chunk of the money that is not half. I can't remember what it is, like 30% or something of the super chat. Um, so it's making YouTube money. It's not a selfless thing just for the creator's benefit. Um, so yeah, it's just a manipulative thing by YouTube. So I wouldn't want someone to give me a super chat based on psychological manipulation from YouTube. There's enough of that going on already. Um, yeah, exactly. Let's get everyone competing against each other and hating each other because you're not winning, and then spending money they can't afford to try and get ahead of people that they don't know, in person or anything. Um, yeah, so that was really all I wanted to say, was just talk about the 6 hour ad thing, and I just obviously mentioned about the AI thing that so I would say probably weekly I get at least a couple of comments um, from people who think that my voice is an AI voice. Um, I still get that it's an American voice trying to pretend to be English kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it's I get the comments saying from people that they think my voice is an AI voice, um, and yet comments on AI videos that are AI voices, people say what a lovely, relaxing voice those people have, and how great they are at their sleep stories. Um, so it is kind of um, an irritating thing, and we don't know what to do in relation to AI. Um, the screen thingy behind me, what I've got that's a light. I turned it off. It's the light that's normally on behind me, but the camera I use is normally one that's over this way, not the one I'm using right now, which is up there. So normally the light is, I've just moved intentionally to kind of replicate it. The light would normally be behind my head. Um, I can access it using my phone, so I will do that. Um, there. So I can obviously turn that light on, change its color, etc. But I thought because I'm sat straight ahead, if I have that on, you're going to have a bright light blaring at you. So I just decided to turn it off. Um, yes, so that's a difficulty that I have, is being accused of being AI, like being accused of being Spock. I think being autistic is what makes me get accused of being AI, because my pattern of speech is kind of robotic often. It's in chunks. It kind of bounces. I see the waveform, obviously, when I'm editing the videos, and I can see that it's bouncing along with a specific rhythm. Um, and I don't mind being accused of being like Spock, because I think I'm more Spock-like than Data, although I don't mind being accused of being like Data. Um, where I'm just trying to understand the world or whatever, and that I just have slightly different connections to the world than normal. But being AI is irritating when the same people love AI and think that they hate AI. Um, you don't think you've come across AI sleep stories. I would say that there's probably maybe half a dozen or a dozen sleep story channels currently which have um, the entire thing done by AI. There's also, I know of a few creators where all the stories are done by AI, but the creator is a real creator um, that reads it, and that they essentially just work as a voiceover artist. But to get the stories out so frequently, they have the stories made via AI to speed up the process. I don't know how they do it. I I know that the stories are AI based, but I don't know how they do it, given the potential limitations of AI, so I don't know what their prompting is to do it. If things are AI, and YouTube does have a button that if something's AI, you have to declare it as AI, but it's very specific use cases. So it's things like if I did a video with, I don't know, if I did a video of Donald Trump and um, that video was an AI version of Donald Trump, I would have to declare that it's an AI version of Donald Trump and not the real Donald Trump, because I'm putting words into the mouth of a real human being, but it's an AI version of them. So anything where you're replicating where people could be mistaken and think, oh, I thought that was this specific real human, that has to be declared. Thank you for loving my channel and for hating AI. See, I love AI and find it fascinating, but don't like some of the use cases that people do, and the fact that that could be monetized significantly higher. Talking of books, they do go all the way around. I don't know if I can lean far enough to make you see. They go all the way around me, that way, all the way around that way. If I stand up, the camera follows me, so you can see it goes all the way around. So yeah, I'm literally surrounded by like 4,000 books or something or other. I don't know. Um, but yeah, and they're in front of me as well, and in other rooms. Um, but yeah, so uh, there are people who um, churn out very regular sleep stories and have very successful sleep story channels whose sleep stories are all AI, or predominantly all AI, so that they can churn out so many sleep stories. Um, one of my reasons for doing sleep stories live was because then you can see it's not AI, because you can literally tell me what you want me to make a story out of and then watch me make the story. Um, so uh, you get annoyed with AI voices. My experience is that, well, no, the research is that people can't tell the difference unless they're told it's an AI voice. Nowadays, things like 11 Labs can make voices that are so convincing and so accurate that people can't tell the difference. And even voices. So if you use Google's AI, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but if you use Google's AI, it has a podcast feature, and the AI voices for the podcast breathe, have inaccuracies, have all sorts of things that make it sound like it's not AI, even though it is AI. Um, yeah, that is after. So yeah, these 4,000 or so books behind me and around me are after I got rid of about 450 books. Thing is, so saying that the problem with AI sleep stories is they don't use black screens. That's more a case of poor creators, because the creator using the AI to make the video could choose to have a black screen if they wanted to. They just don't know what they're doing because they're setting it up. So all those sleep story channels that churn out a video a day or video every 2 days or whatever, they're just someone who's like, there's. So I've seen the videos pop up saying make money, um, set up a sleep story channel. It's the fastest way to make money. I've seen videos that say that, and they'll recommend just creating all this stuff on AI and then starting a channel and just churning out videos day after day after day. And then what you do is, if the channel doesn't take off in, say, a 3 month period, you then close the channel down because YouTube algorithm didn't pick up the videos. you close the channel down, and then just start another channel and do the same again, and have multiple channels on the go at the same time. And then as soon as one channel takes off, you focus on that channel and ditch the rest. And then that's what you do. You keep churning out channel after channel, and then just keep closing down the ones that don't take off and focusing on the ones that do. And that way you just get channels taking off really, really quickly. But yeah, so these are people who don't actually know what they're doing. They don't know about meditation. They don't know about, say, hypnosis. They don't know about relaxation. They don't know about, they haven't been around long enough to learn about uh, using black screens and doing these other bits and pieces. And so they just churn it out, keeping all the images and everything on there. And obviously, if people don't want the images and don't like the images, then that might become a standout thing, as a sign that this creator clearly doesn't know what they're doing because there's images on the screen. And if they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't have those images there. Um, so I would say that channels that have uh, images on them, normally it's more a case of um, people not knowing what they're doing. But it is also a difficult one because I've had videos where it's completely black screen, and because it's completely black screen, when YouTube introduced the hover over a video and it starts auto playing or whatever, what would happen is if you hovered over the video and it's a black screen, it doesn't look compelling, so you don't click the video and you don't watch the video. So to increase click-through, I found that I needed to make sure there was at least something on screen, some visual thing on screen that might make someone think, oh, this looks relaxing, or give some kind of a positive feeling in those first few seconds, so that once you start watching once it auto plays as you're scrolling through the videos, it auto plays into something that you want to watch, not into just a black screen that doesn't make you think, I'm going to click on that, because whatever the thumbnail was disappears as you're scrolling. So that stops mattering. So you do need some kind of image nowadays. Um, but normally you want whatever the imagery is to fade away probably within a minute or so, once the person's being asked to close their eyes, and so doesn't need to be looking at the image. Um, but yeah, so anyway, I will drop off shortly unless anyone's got anything else to say. As I was saying, as sleep story creators, we do have these ad challenges. We do also now have the challenge with um, AI and how we're going to handle the fact that none of us can churn out content. Get Sleepy has a whole team behind it, the team that did the Slumber app. They've also got many sleep stories that were on the Slumber app that they can use on their YouTube channel. Um, and they've got new stuff always being created. So Get Sleepy has a lot of people behind it that run their YouTube channel, so that helps them to churn out content very frequently. But all of the individual creators either have the one creator doing everything, or the one creator has to be successful enough that they're able to hire people to do chunks of it, like the editing and story creation and things like that. So I know a few individual creators that might go to Fiverr and say, can you write me a sleep story? And they'll use, say, a Fiverr person paying maybe 50 or 60 quid for someone to write a 20-minute, 30-minute sleep story for them to read out on their channel. But yeah, most of us who are just single creators, we can't keep up the pace. And I've been irritated by the comments that are saying, I had a few weeks ago a comment on a video that had been up less than 24 hours saying, come on, Dan, I want more videos. I want more stories. I've already watched this one. And I end up obviously replying, pointing out that there's enough stories on my channel that you could listen to a different story every day for over a year and a half before you have to re-listen to the same story again. Um, and then they commented on another video saying the same thing, and so then, or no, on another post saying the same thing again. Like, you need to be producing more content. One story a week isn't enough, um, and so Abby obviously then jumped in and responded because she was now irritated that there's this person fairly frequently commenting on things. I don't know if that. I assume that they would give credit to the person from Fiverr. Um, if well, it depends. If they were paying for it, but not, they were paying for the right to have the whole thing and not have to give credit as part of the payment, then they may not give credit because they're paying for it to be created on that for them on their behalf, and they would then just say this is the next story and not necessarily give credit if they've bought it as something that's they've bought it without the need to give the credit. Um, but even then, I think it's nice to give the credit, even if what you've paid for means you don't have to give credit. But I haven't read through any of their descriptions to the videos to see if they've necessarily given credit or not. Um, but yeah, it is difficult in relation to the amount that people want the content. Um, and as I think I said maybe a week or two ago, obviously I'm looking for work. I'm looking for opportunities to be able to just stop doing all this and stop being on a grindstone where as soon as I create one thing, I'm already having to create the next thing. And as I say, I haven't been able to create a sleep story that I'm happy with since April so far. Um, I've not been able to create any new sleep stories. So I'm still running on old sleep stories that have been recorded during the live streams. I haven't created anything new, and I've not been happy with any of my Patreon stories that I've made for the last, I don't know, for May, June, July, and now August. Um, so I've done my best with them, but I've not been happy with them. And so I'm kind of at that point of thinking things are getting harder and harder. YouTube is getting harder and harder. And it isn't that I'm not making a living out of it still. So it's not going back into work because of not making enough money. And then adding on to that, the tax changes that are coming in April are kind of the last straw. So I'm 100% certain that unless I can become exempt from the changes, which you can't apply to see if you can be exempt until October, unless I can become exempt from the changes, um, I'm 100% certain I won't be doing any of this from April next year because I will not want to make any money self-employed. I will be taking all my books off the market, all my courses off the market, all my sort of audio that, if it's out there, makes money off the market, um, so that I can't make any money self-employed, so that I don't have to then continue to uh, do the new tax changes that come in from April. Um, so I'm trying to make sure I've found a job before then, in case, well, as soon as possible, really, in case I end up having no choice, um, but to have to comply with the new tax changes. Because, as I say, you can't apply to be exempt until October. No need to be sorry. It's just the way things are. Things gradually change. It's been a decade of me doing this self-employed, 100% self-employed. I haven't had any other jobs for the last decade. I've just been doing this. So yeah, it's just the way things are. YouTube, their way of working has made it much, much more difficult to keep creating YouTube content. And then um, the way the tax system is changing is making it so that that also isn't a viable option, if I don't get exemption in October. But obviously, I don't want to not even look for work until October, because if I look for work, um, if I don't start looking for work until October, then I'll be looking for work in the Christmas season when the only jobs will be for Christmas temps, and then it's already after Christmas, and then it's close to April. So I just need to be looking kind of now. But I am already closing everything down, ending all my kind of social media presence, taking a back seat from everything, um, and kind of preparing, just focusing on the bit that makes most of my income, which is the sleep stories, and then everything else I'm just kind of stopping and getting rid of in preparation for that potentially having to be my way forward, um, in the future. And if I can be exempt, then I'll carry on doing sleep stories. If I can't be exempt, then I will stop before April so that I don't make any income from it after April. Um, so anyway, uh, goodbye to Fox. I saw that you were dropping out for dinner. I've got to go to bed because it's what, 12:30 here, midnight. There are others of you in the same or later time zones who also should be in bed asleep. Um, so thank you all for joining me, and I was about to say I'll see you in the next live stream. I don't know when that'll be, but you never know. I might do a live stream. There was Lego behind me. You never know, I might do a Lego live stream. So thank you. And yeah, it would be a shame to stop potentially, although I would like to get over my kind of sleep storytelling block of struggling to tell sleep stories at the moment. It would be nice to be back on a roll as I was.